So, hi Taurus, this is your reading, which is timeless. And for you, I haven't chosen, but Spirit have chosen for you the Priestess of Light Oracle. And I love these cards for you. There's a lot going on in this reading, a lot going on. So now it's time to unpack the reading. And what's quite interesting actually was I pulled these cards on Friday the 13th, which is really 13 is very much a number indicative of the goddess, but also it's, Friday the 13th, it's been hijacked by this belief it's an unlucky day. But what I heard was all these kind of systems and programs and areas of life that we've been told or we've been socialized to believe are supposed to act or we're supposed to perform or respond in a certain manner aren't necessarily so. And there's been a lot for you, Taurus, that you've been waking up to this over a period of time. And I really want to say for you, there was almost like I wanted to say this is your great reset and not the great reset we hear of on other channels, but your reset point has already occurred. And this is now the following on from it. So this is like you've had Uranus traveling through wherever you've got Taurus in your chart. So your Uranus is the Great Awakener. So I'm really going to say that this is part of your Great Awakening. And I think here what I'm kind of seeing with these cards is that the message is about that it's not time doesn't wait for anybody, and your awakening does not need to be based upon the outside world or what's going on the outside. This really has been an inside job for you. So what's wonderful is your own element has arrived in this reading, so the earth element, and you have, like the other earth signs, you have your own relationship to the earth, just like all the signs have. But with the earth signs, they know how to go into nature and to almost like bring in the energy, bioresonance of the earth back into their energy system and their energy field when they're feeling slightly depleted. And it could be that right now there's something around this being looked at. So I want to say, the planting of something new. So I'm starting on the middle, the first card on the left-hand side of the picture. And this is really about that the seeds have already been planted. These were seeds that were planted a long time ago. And what you have been learning is to go with the flow. You've been really clearing out a lot in your life. And this has been people, places and things and situations. It's required of you to really look at things when they're uncomfortable. And instead of saying, I'll just go off and have a cup of tea or I'll have a sandwich. And there's Taurians that are really, they know their energy. Though I'm a Taurus myself, so I do understand this energy, but I only have one planet in Taurus. Some of you listening might have many planets in Taurus and you will really resonate with the Taurus energy. But food and enjoying the finer things in life is a big part of your relaxation process, but it's also part of your ritual. So, as long as it's healthy for you and it's not harming your health and it's not out of balance, and it's funny because the balance card has actually come out underneath the setting boundaries. Who cares what anybody thinks, Taurus? This whole, opening up for you, getting to know thyself, which is part of the spirit. It's about going in. It's going into the interior castle. I say this a lot with my work because it's been a big part of my own journey, and we often will teach what we've been through because we want to assist and help people and support them. So for you, it's very much about knowing that the creations that you're bringing out into the world and where you're heading, it might not all be fully formed right now. It's still forming at the same time that your new life is and that you are. So the Great Awakener, where Uranus goes throughout the chart, it's not necessarily the most eloquent planet. And what I mean by that is it will come in, and if something isn't right or something is really out of energetic balance, you'll really get shown. So what this is showing me here is there's been a lot of letting go, Taurus, and that's already happened, and it's still continuing, and it's almost like you don't fear it anymore. It's necessary. you've really learned to not really give a crap what anybody thinks about you, because you know that siphons off your energy when you need it for this innovation that's coming in. So Uranus is also the planet of innovation, and it's also the planet of, future. It's the planet of the visionary, which is, Taurus is tried and tested. You're the builder, you're the solid, steady ship, the foundation, you're the lighthouse in the time of need for everybody. But part of this process of your awakening, or whatever you want to call it, has been that there are times where you can't do that and be that for everyone and all things. So you've actually had to learn where your energy is going and what it's been going to and whom it's been going to. And there's been a lot of awakening around this for you, where maybe you've been around psychic vampires, or you've been around people that are really don't want the best for you, actually. But what you've been guided by spirit is that, look, it's okay. That's their journey. I don't need to participate in this. And whereas maybe in the past it's been very hard for you to let go, because the earth signs are very grounded, as in they're very fit. A Taurus is a fixed sign as well. Now Capricorn and Virgo aren't. So for them, that can manifest in different ways, but we're focusing on Taurus here. So you're a fixed earth sign. So that, as much as that fixed energy can be brilliant in times of need, not only for yourself, which is the most important part, we have to build a firm foundation first. We can't build it around everybody else and expect it to stand. It won't. It has to be, you have to build your own structure, and you have to know what works for you. I'm talking about this metaphorically now, Taurus. So it's really important for you that you know what drains your power and what doesn't. And this is why the Brilliant Beliefs card has come out upside down. So this is saying your life force and personal power is still being re-established based upon what you've learned. So you're creating something new. You're creating a new life out of the ashes, and you're building a new home. You're building a new house. And there's wonderful things that are going to go into this house. Maybe a partner, maybe children, maybe animals, maybe plants. Maybe some kind of medicine around the home, where you're guided to live, even the guidance of where you've moved to. And I'm seeing this is, for many of you, has already happened, if it's not already happening. Now, again, I always say this because I don't do these kind of band-aid readings. Like, with the way that my guides work with readings is everybody's welcome. This is the best way that I can be of service to you. But it's also about being realistic, and it's not about rose-tinted glasses. Readings, when they work, the alchemy of them is that based upon truth, and they're based upon shining light, whether we might perceive that as negative or positive. And I feel like for you, Taurus, here, you've had to understand polarity. So the negative and the positive charge. And you've built this kind of a bit like when somebody's really rebuilding their nervous system after trauma. They have to titrate, so they have to learn, okay, because, life crap happens. As much as we have joy, we also have pain. So we have we have love, we have grief. We're not saying that, in some respects they're opposites, but on a large factor here, they are part of life. It's realistic, it's realism. It's not about, and this is what the kind of the form of spirituality that we see based in spiritual narcissism is, that you pray it away, you wish it away, you don't have to do the work. And what I am hearing here is that Taurus has had to really do some work. So it's almost like the house has been knocked down, the foundations have been pulled out, the earth has been reconstituted and blessed, and sacred ground created. So it's almost like you might pull something out of the earth, but then you go back and you plant trees and you say to Mother Earth, right, we want to restore you. We don't just want to take and pillage. We want to put something in you to say, well, thank you. Thank you for the time I've spent here. And I'm feeling like this is very much about a process that you've gone through in your life. So that's that first section. So Spirit is saying that you're going to be working with the innovation and you're going to be creating something new. I don't know what that is. It might be what you're teaching. You are the builder. So what you do and what's in your energy is that you're here to help people to learn how to build their own house back up. Maybe when they've gone through something difficult, you are that light, that torch in the dark to say, well, this is how I do it, because you're so good at it naturally. It's part of what you came in to offer, to be of service with. So whatever you turn that into, Taurus, to bring in and shine out there into the world is fantastic. So there's some kind of innovatory essence to where you're heading with this. You're either doing it in a new way, you've figured out something in a different way. It's not like you've reinvented the wheel. You are almost like that, again, you're that steady hand that the world needs right now. Whatever element of life you work within or you live within, what your soul path is, your mission, there is some element where you're bringing back the structure that is so badly needed in the world, where people may have gone off on a tangent about concepts and they're floating off into the head. Taurus comes in and says, look, this is where we need to do the work. This is the spreadsheet and this is how we do it. You know, you're like the formula that makes the outcome happen. So moving on now onto that second section, is we have at the moment, so I'm being guided to talk about the top section here because it's all intertwined. So where we've got go with the flow and setting boundaries, there's deep emotions and sacred breath and sound. So what's coming up around whenever you listen to this reading or whenever you get this message that will be right for you is that you've built loads of different facets and assets to your spiritual toolbox. So this is like, you know, for instance, I'll give you an example to help describe what I'm trying to articulate here, which is that you may have had a shock or maybe something comes up and it's kind of like it's triggering, or it's like my nervous system gets really activated, and it's almost like the old familiar feelings come back and you go, oh, aha, I know what this is. This is when maybe my last relationship ended, but I got through it and I was okay. And I know what works for me working through it. Or I've gone through a passing, I've just lost somebody I love, or, you know, I've gone through a big house move. I'm physically and mentally spent. But you know what you need to build yourself back up, to replenish. And this is where Spirit is saying, look, so you don't focus on the things that don't need your time and attention. You know what the time wasters are, whether that's people or situations that people are asked for your help. You know now to say with the setting boundaries card, I'm really sorry right now. And what Spirit's saying is don't explain. The bit now that's coming in is you're not explaining yourself to people. You're just not investing your time and energy into relationships and setups where it's all the take, and there's no giving back. Because I think it's a misnomer with Taurus where people think because you can really display this and articulate this essence of strength and solid reliability and loyalty, and you don't always get it back, Taurus. But the thing is, you will give it back to yourself now, because that's what those cards are all about. So it's about using your communication methods in a way where it's not explanatory, but it's like, I'm not available, and you don't explain why, because you need to look after yourself. And this is not a selfish thing. It's actually about self-respect for your physical human vessel. And where emotions come up and they might be unknown at first, there's going to be a quick remembrance and knowing what to do. So whatever it is that you've done with the touching earth card, where you've opened up to this new way of being or understanding or seeing, figuratively or intuitively, whatever that means for you, you've actually accumulated this wonderful spiritual toolbox. And again, this message is for everybody. If you feel guided to listen to this Taurus message, you're so welcome. This message is for you also, because I trust that you know what you need. And I think this is what this message is really about. The great awakener for Taurus is understanding who they are and what they need. And what that's going to do is it's going to help them now with their mission of what they've come here to do. It's really going to kick in. And there might have been a period there where you're like, oh, you know, nothing's happening and things aren't moving and I'm banging my head against a brick wall. And it has been down to circumstantial attributes have needed to be put in place for you. Because if you think these cards together, setting boundaries, balance and innovation, together they're like a powerhouse of abilities to have. To be able to stand firm and strong, you were born with that, you know you've got that. Innovation, you've had to have maybe your mind and your sense of self open to new ways of doing things and come out of black and white thinking. And the setting boundaries is that you can't do the work and the learning and go within if you've got people mithering you and asking for stuff and you're going out and you're rescuing people. So there's been a lot going on here, Taurus, that you've had to contend with, but there's also a lot that you've really broken through with. So what I want to say to you is whatever comes up now and in the future, you're well able to deal with this. So Spirit is saying you understand how to work with the power of your breath. In yoga, we say that the quality of your life is exactly demonstrated in the quality of your breath. So if you learn to breathe and take in air, you're taking in life. And to breathe out, you're learning to let go. So, you know, there's been a lot of deep emotional work that you've done. You've had to work through. Some of it's been, you know, many lives within this life. But moving on now, because I really want to work with the cards that are coming towards the right of where you are standing towards and you're heading towards. So the top cards here, crowning your reading, the loss, lack, fear and victimization and divine mother are there, saying nurturing, compassion and grace. So this is understanding when you need to go in to call in Mother Earth. This is what we were talking about in the beginning of this reading, about understanding your relationship to the earth. So it's knowing like when maybe you're lacking strength, you'll go out and you'll spend time in the hills or the mountains. So you're starting to really respect and understand the bioresonance that you need, and you can call upon it. And being in tune with Mother Earth and working with Mother Earth, taking the best of Mother Earth, but ensuring that you put, because you know you're going to put that back in. So where there's been loss and lack, or where that archetype of the victim appears, you now know what to do. So when your victim comes up and everything, you're being bombarded, instead of going into the rabbit hole of becoming a victim, you say, I can see what's going on here and I need to step back. I need to just have a little bit of sacred time to rest and just sit with this and process. And actually, as you process, it releases and gets you stronger. So what's coming up here is you have the circle of eternal joy. So this, what I was saying about this, you're able to oscillate. You understand that as much as we have joy, there's pain. It's not real life to just chase and try to maintain one. So when we're in victimhood, we're almost like, there's almost like an addiction to pain. As weird as that sounds, it can manifest that way. But then also with joy, there's almost like, I don't want to deal with the tough stuff in life. This is when people will run away from shadow work. And actually it's quite infantile to do that, because it's not, when you're a grown-ass adult, you know that you've got to go with the rough, take the rough with the smooth. And actually, the more you go with it, the more you dance with life. So the duality aspect is saying here that there's an understanding here around duality and acceptance of it, and understanding that as much as we rebirth and we rebirth again, and the cycles of like the seasons, nature teaches us, the leaves die and then the seeds come up and it rejuvenates itself. There's a divine intelligence around nature that with the fairies and the elves and and everything else, that we mustn't lose this capability to be able to dance with life and to dream and be in touch with the other worlds. And this is where your grateful optimism is tapped in, because it helps you really focus on what's important, but also it helps you to not get pulled into the drama that's playing out on the world stage. And what's wonderful about this on the grounding aspects of your reading is the healing the heart is what you've been doing effectively. because we heal our broken hearts, and they heal and they become stronger. And this is the miraculous gift of healing, that sometimes when we have the broken heart, it can shut down and we say, I don't want to put myself in that position again because it was so hard. But the reason we feel pain is because it means our heart is working, our emotionality is activated. It's a good thing. And there is something coming around this with you, that you're attracting in more new connections. So if you've had a lot of avoidant people in your life, you'll be finding that you won't be putting your energy into that moving forward. There's going to be a focus on putting your time and energy not into things because you're going to get things out, but there is an absolute there's an ebb and flow with it. So there's a receiving and giving. There's a natural alchemy to it, because we can't give from an empty cup, but we also can't put into a cup that has a massive hole in it and the water's leaking out. It would just drain us. So I think there's an element here of what you're physically manifesting into your life and where you are working with the energy of spirit, is that you are, as much as there's been some massive challenges in your life, and there still will be, because that's life. We've got to be realistic. We've got to come out of this spiritual narcissism that we believe because we are enlightened, we won't be affected by things in life. It's just not true. And I think any teacher that's going to tell you that is not somebody that's seeing the full spectrum of light. Because it's actually through our challenges. I mean, we don't have to learn everything through our challenges, but it's also through our really dark periods in life do we actually learn some of these incredible things that you've been going through, Taurus. And this has not been something over a year or 2 years. We're talking years here. We're talking absolute years. But this is why I'm doing the readings like this now. I'm not doing any of the readings like anyone else on YouTube, and I love the way other people do their readings. I fully support them. I'm just going to go with what spirit are guiding me to do to be of best service to you. And I feel for you, Taurus, there is an acknowledgement here of healing your heart that hasn't been an overnight job. It's been a big understanding to see how you work and how you relate. But what that's enabling you to do now is open up to greater love, to greater light, to receive more, and also to count your blessings. So as much as if you are going through something painful, and if you are, I send you my love and support right now, is that there's also this understanding that you know that this rite of passage or whatever you're going through is necessary, and it's actually bringing you great blessings. It's actually re-establishing and reaffirming to you how important, how sacred life is, and how blessed we are. Everything can go in a minute, and actually to be here, it's all part of the experience, Taurus. And I want to say to you that you would be the one that would just say, just take it easy now. You are the energy of one day at a time, and I feel like you have mastered this on some level. And if you're guided and you need to take time away from people and stimulus, please take it in this, when just please take it for yourself, because it's actually it's what you need. It's the divine medicine for you at that time. And your body, you're very in touch with your body and knowing what it needs. And I think this is something that Taurians are very good at teaching other people, to stop and slow down. They get a bad rap for, like snail pace and, and saying, like, you'll only do this when whatever, and this propensity to stubbornness. But what I also want to say to you is that in spirit animal medicine is that, like, if you think about the cow, it's all about, which is a sign of Taurus, it's a female sign. It's about nurturing. It's about not necessarily the mother, that's more Cancerian, but the cow is such a, it's a beautiful animal. And where I used to live, it's very, very indicative of the land and living off the land. And I just feel that, you know, it's all about nourishment and knowing how to nourish yourself. Yeah, and I think that's it, Taurus. I'm going to say that to you. You listen to your body. You'll know what to do. Whatever it is that you're creating, just be open to these innovative paths opening up to you now. And, you know, it's okay for you to go into that cave for you, because you're going to be receiving divine downloads. You are going to be receiving divine downloads in these times, and it's also going to help you and give you time to breathe and acclimatize to a lot of these emotional, mental, and spiritual upgrades that you've been receiving and that you're going to be using now in some respects in your life and in your work and where you're heading. So I'm going to leave it there, Taurus. A lovely reading for you. And I look forward to speaking to you soon. Lots of love.